The nature of sharing problems. Beloved ones, life is a mysterious dance of joys and sorrows, of love and pain, of moments that uplift the spirit and moments that crush it. Every human being carries a storm within, a storm of fears, anxieties, disappointments, and unresolved longing. And naturally, the mind wants to share this storm, to release it, to tell someone, see what I am going through, understand me, and help me carry this burden. It seems simple, almost natural, but listen carefully. Your inner world is sacred, and not every ear is capable of receiving it. Many people believe that sharing problems automatically brings relief, but this is not always true. Some people have not learned to listen. They hear only through the lens of their own understanding. They do not feel your pain because they are trapped in their own illusions, their own habits, and their own judgments. And when you open your heart to them, your storm does not dissipate. Instead, it collides with their energy, their interpretations, and often their resistance. You might feel understood for a moment, but soon you realize something heavier has settled over you. Beloved, energy is contagious. Emotions, especially strong emotions, are like rivers. They flow, they spread, they influence everyone around. When you share your pain with someone who is not ready or capable, your vulnerability becomes entangled with their own inner turbulence. Your problem ceases to be yours alone. It now carries their judgment, their fear, their discomfort, and in this merging, clarity is lost. Your heart, which sought relief, may instead feel constricted, confused, or even smaller than before. It is important to understand that sharing is not merely a matter of conversation. It is a sacred exchange of energy. To tell someone your problems is not only to explain, but also to expose your inner self, to show the raw, unguarded, authentic you. And this is a dangerous gift. If given to the wrong person, many people wear masks. They are acting, performing, protecting themselves. They do not have the capacity to hold your truth without distorting it. Your innocence, your honesty, your inner storm, these are treasures that must be entrusted only to those whose hearts are awake. Sometimes silence is wiser than words. Sometimes the act of observing your own pain without seeking an external witness is more transformative than any conversation. When you remain present with your storm, when you feel it fully, when you allow it to move and settle within you, a deep understanding arises. And this understanding is not dependent on others. It is your own. So be very discerning, beloved ones. Know that sharing your inner world is not a casual act. Protect your energy, honor your vulnerability, and remember, not every ear is ready to receive your storm. Some can hear only their own echoes, and some can see only their own reflection. Choose wisely, for your heart and soul deserve that respect. The judgmental souls, beloved ones, some people are like mirrors, but not the kind that reflects your truth. They reflect only their own ideas, their own standards, their own limitations. These are the judgmental souls, those who cannot simply witness your suffering without evaluating it, correcting it, or measuring it against their beliefs. When you share your problems with them, you are stepping into their world, not theirs into yours. And this is dangerous, because your vulnerability, your inner storm, is precious. It deserves the calm presence of understanding, not the harshness of judgment. The judgmental person cannot simply sit with your pain. They are compelled to label it, categorize it, or correct it. You should have done this differently, they say. They say, why did you not think ahead, they ask. Their words are sharp, not because they want to harm, but because their consciousness is limited, rigid, trapped in habit. They cannot tolerate raw humanity. They want life neat, controlled, predictable. And your problems in their eyes are messy, uncontrollable, unpredictable. You become a problem to them, not a person seeking understanding. Beloved, notice how subtle this can be. Sometimes they do not even speak. Their judgment is silent. In the glances, the raised eyebrows, the unspoken criticism, and still it touches you. It weighs on you. It stifles your energy. When your heart opens, when your soul bares itself, and judgment is present, it is like trying to breathe in a polluted room. You take in their air, and suddenly your own clarity becomes clouded. Your innocence becomes distorted. You begin to second-guess yourself, to doubt your own feelings, to question your own experience, These judgmental souls live in a constant need to correct, to improve, to impose their vision. They cannot simply allow life to be as it is. They cannot simply allow you to feel, to be, to experience your problems authentically. And so sharing with them is an act that leaves you drained, misunderstood, and even more lonely than before. They do not have the space for your truth. They only have space for their own certainty. Sometimes, beloved ones, it is better to hold your storm within you than to offer it to such people. Not because you are ashamed, but because you respect your own energy. Problems are sacred. They are your teachers, your mirrors, your doorway to understanding. If the person in front of you cannot witness your journey without judgment, their presence cannot serve you. Your vulnerability deserves the company of those who can simply hold it, without interference, without correction, without imposition. So be aware of the judgmental souls around you. Protect your heart. Protect your inner space. Not every mind is capable of understanding, not every heart is capable of compassion. And remember, beloved ones, your problems are yours to transform, not theirs to dissect. Share only with those whose consciousness is wide, whose heart is gentle, whose energy can receive without distortion. Then the act of sharing becomes sacred, it becomes light, not weight. The energy drainers, nomen the moment to not imki trolled. The moment to because the so pings idia pikelbe. Beloved ones, there are people in this world who are drawn not to joy, not to stillness, but to chaos. Their presence is like a whirlwind, subtle yet consuming. These are the energy drainers, those who feed unconsciously, or sometimes even consciously, on the pain, anxiety, and drama of others. When you share your problems with them, your vulnerability becomes a feast for their restlessness. They do not listen to understand, they listen to absorb. And in that absorption, your own energy begins to dissipate. It is important to understand that not all who seem attentive are helpful. Some people have an unconscious need to magnify suffering, to feel alive through the turbulence of others. They cannot sit quietly with your pain. They twist it, they expand it, they reflect it back in exaggerated forms. You might start a conversation hoping for relief, but you end up heavier than before. Your heart feels burdened, your mind restless, and your spirit diminished. Beloved, these energy drainers are not necessarily cruel. They are simply unaware. They live in a world of projection, unable to distinguish their energy from yours. Your sorrow becomes their entertainment, their validation, their sense of purpose, and in their presence your storm grows in size, like a shadow cast by the sun of their energy. They are like mirrors that do not reflect light, they only absorb it, leaving darkness behind. Notice how subtle this can be. Sometimes they do not speak in obvious ways, but their reactions, their sighs, their disbelief, their pity, all of these act as hooks, pulling your energy toward them. You begin to feel responsible for their reactions. You begin to feel as if your suffering is too much, as if it is your fault, or that you are weak for needing to share. And in this process you lose touch with the very essence of why you wanted to share in the first place. Sharing becomes a transaction, and your soul pays the price. The wise, beloved ones, learn to discern these people early. Energy drainers thrive in the shadows of your vulnerability. They do not transform your pain, they magnify it, and you, giving your precious energy to such souls, are left empty. Instead, one must seek companions who do not take, but who hold, who do not amplify, but who reflect with calmness, who do not react, but simply witness with presence. In such company, your pain can be felt and released without being stolen. Remember, your inner world is sacred. It is not a resource for others to consume. Protect it, cherish it, and share it only with those whose hearts are awake, whose consciousness is wide, and whose presence does not diminish you. Then your storm finds a space to be seen, to be acknowledged, and eventually to settle. You will feel lighter, freer, more yourself. Beloved ones, in life, energy is the most precious currency, and it is wise to spend it carefully. The people who cannot understand silence, O yourself, one you are not did understand of fright. The moment together paya, beloved ones, in this noisy world, silence is a rare and precious gift. It is in silence that the soul speaks, where the heart reveals its secrets, and where understanding deepens without words. Yet there are many people who cannot sit with silence, who are uncomfortable with the quiet presence of another's inner world. These are the ones who cannot understand silence, and sharing your problems with them can be more exhausting than keeping them inside. These people are always in a hurry. They need sound, movement, explanation. When you sit quietly with your pain, they feel restless. They cannot bear the stillness that allows you to feel, to breathe, to be. So they push, they talk, they question, or they offer solutions before you have even spoken. They cannot honor the rhythm of your heart, the pauses in your mind, or the depth of your emotion. And in this pushing, your pain becomes distorted, your words lose their meaning, and your inner space is invaded. Beloved ones, listen carefully. Not every problem requires words. Some pains are not to be explained, they are to be observed, to be felt fully, to be allowed to flow within. There is a sacred rhythm in suffering, a silence that carries understanding beyond thought. To share this with someone who cannot honor silence is to invite chaos into your own soul. They cannot witness your storm without disturbing it. They cannot feel your sorrow without reacting to it. And in their reaction, your storm is multiplied, no longer yours alone, no longer authentic. These people may think they are helpful. They may say, "Why do you not speak? Let me help you." But their help comes from their discomfort with stillness, not from compassion. Their energy is restless, and they cannot sit in the calm waters of another's inner world. And when your heart opens expecting understanding, you encounter not acceptance but impatience, not compassion but agitation. You leave the conversation drained, uneasy, as if the silence you sought was never there at all. Beloved ones, this is why silence is sacred, and this is why the choice of whom you share with is so important. The wise do not speak their inner storms to those who cannot hold them. They do not attempt to explain to minds that are restless, anxious, or busy with their own noise. Instead, they honor their own rhythm. They allow their hearts to move at their own pace. And if someone is present with calmness, with presence, without judgment, without interference, only then can sharing become meaningful. In silence there is clarity. In silence there is energy. In silence your problems begin to reveal their own solutions. And when you encounter someone who can simply sit with you, who can hold your silence without trying to change it, without talking over it, without reacting to it, the soul feels relief, the heart feels lighter, and the spirit is nourished. Beloved ones, do not underestimate the power of silence. Protect it, cherish it, share only with those who can understand it. For in silence your soul speaks, and in its listening you are truly heard. The self-absorbed, beloved ones, there are people in this world whose eyes see only themselves, whose hearts feel only the rhythm of their own desires. These are the self-absorbed, the ones whose consciousness is limited to the boundaries of their own mind. When you share your problems with them, your vulnerability is often lost, ignored, or redirected. They cannot hold your pain because their hearts are full of themselves. They cannot listen because their minds are occupied with their own reflections. The self-absorbed are not necessarily cruel or unkind. They may smile, nod, even say words of sympathy, but listen carefully. Their presence is a mirror turned inward, not outward. They hear only what connects to their own life, their own struggles, their own story, and so your storm is quickly overshadowed, not by malice, but by the weight of their preoccupation. Your pain, which deserves attention, becomes invisible in the orbit of their self-centered world. Beloved ones, notice how subtle this can be. Sometimes the self-absorbed do not speak about themselves directly, but their reactions always return to their own experience. Your grief reminds them of their grief. Your worry reflects their worry. And very soon the conversation is no longer about you, it is about them. They cannot offer space because their space is already occupied. Sharing with them feels like shouting in a crowded room. Your voice exists, but it is drowned in the noise of another. This is why it is crucial to recognize such people early. The moment a love natin kamins poishan, the moment to eat is not teen kamins poishan, duectot, forgets and they judged, that is noli the no iti ladio fritik, ducets and they judged, duectot, forgets and they judged, duectot, forgets in the 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 judged, do. Not all who listen are capable of understanding. Sharing your inner world is an act of trust, an offering of your sacred energy. When that offering meets a self-absorbed heart, the energy is wasted, dissipated into their consciousness, leaving you empty, frustrated, and often more alone than before. You may have hope for compassion, but instead you encounter reflection, projection, and redirection. The act of sharing, instead of being healing, becomes exhausting. Beloved, there is a subtle lesson here. Life teaches discernment. Not everyone deserves the intimacy of your vulnerability. Problems are not burdens to unload indiscriminately. They are treasures to share wisely. To give your inner storms to those who cannot hold them is to dilute your own power, to scatter your energy in places where it cannot grow. Only the conscious, awake, present beings can receive your truth without altering it, without reflecting only their own image back to you. The self-absorbed cannot create this sacred space. They cannot simply sit with you, hold you, or witness your pain without intrusion. And that is not their fault. It is simply their limitation. And so, beloved ones, protect your energy. Share your inner world only with those whose hearts are expansive, whose awareness is awake, whose presence can hold without distorting. Then your sharing becomes sacred. Then your pain is witnessed, honored, and transformed. Then your soul feels lighter, your heart feels open, and your spirit feels nourished. The secret of true sharing, servit of true sharing, servit of true sharing. The secret of true sharing, servit 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 of. Beloved ones, now listen carefully, for this is the heart of wisdom. Sharing your problems is not merely speaking words into the air. True sharing is an exchange of energy, a sacred offering of your inner world. It is not for every ear, not for every mind, and certainly not for every heart. Your vulnerability is precious. It is the softest, most delicate part of your being, and like a rare flower, it must be entrusted only to those capable of receiving it without judgment, without distortion, without intrusion. The secret of true sharing is presence. To share is not to explain, not to persuade, not to make someone understand. It is to allow another to sit with your storm, to witness it, to honor it, without trying to change it. True sharing is like offering sunlight to a plant. It nourishes, it illuminates, it allows growth, but it does not force or manipulate. When you share with a conscious being, your energy flows freely. Your burdens lighten, your heart opens, and your spirit feels the gentle embrace of recognition. Beloved ones, this is why discernment is so vital. Not everyone can hold your truth. Some will absorb your pain and reflect it back as confusion or criticism. Some will be distracted, preoccupied with their own thoughts, their own limitations. Some will even thrive on your suffering, unconsciously feeding off it. Sharing with such people is not only fruitless, it can be harmful. It can scatter your energy, cloud your clarity, and disturb the natural rhythm of your inner life. True sharing requires a space where silence is honored, presence is maintained, and understanding flows without words. Sometimes you may not even need to speak. The simple act of being seen by another who is awake, who is present, who is compassionate, can lift the weight from your shoulders. This is the essence of connection. Not the exchange of information, but the resonance of energy. When two souls meet in this way, even a single glance, a single breath together can bring profound relief. Beloved, Your inner world is sacred. Problems are not burdens to distribute indiscriminately. They are teachers, mirrors, guides. They reveal your inner landscape, your fears, your wounds, and your potential for transformation. Protect this space. Share only with those who can honor it. And remember, the one who is conscious does not need to fix, advise, or judge. They simply hold, they simply witness, they simply allow. In their presence, your pain can breathe, your spirit can expand, and your soul can be restored. So learn this art, beloved ones. Learn to recognize the right companions, the awakened hearts, the souls who can hold without distortion. Share with them, and your energy will remain intact. Your clarity will shine, and your problems will begin to dissolve, not through their interference, but through your own deep understanding, witnessed by another. This is the secret of true sharing. It is not the words but the presence, not the advice but the consciousness, not the act of telling, but the act of being seen and held. When you grasp this, beloved, you discover freedom, and in that freedom, you find yourself.